So Rony Vernet, it is a pleasure to finally meet you, man. We've been talking on Signal.
Pleasure is mine, yeah.
Yeah. So you have been doing, I wanted to ask about what you've been doing with UAP. You've been, you've been down in the Amazon studying orbs, right? And then you actually have a UAP sample that you've been tracking. Can you tell me a little bit about some of that?
Yes. So in 2023, the news exploded about phenomena in the Peruvian side, not in Brazil, but in Peru, about humanoids and orbs that were attacking people, all the Amazon jungle there. And this reached the Brazil in October 2023. And after that, the phenomena just got in standby mode, like that. And in 2024, in the middle of the year, like May or June, the phenomena started to manifest in indigenous villages in Brazil, in the state of Acre, that's border with Peru. Not in humanoids, like in Peru, that people were reporting, but orbs. What these orbs were doing, they were just observing people. They are descending near the ground. They are entering the houses of the people. The people were resting and sleeping. They awake and see this orb in front of them.
So this sounds like the same phenomena that was going on at Skinwalker Ranch, right? And I think James Lukatsky and some other folks have talked about that. Like there was the hitchhiker effect also in their case.
Yes, the difference from Skinwalker in this case and for other cases in Brazil that were very aggressive, for example, in Operation Saucer in the 70s, that phenomena attacked people. In this case, in 2024, the phenomena was limited to only observe the people. They're not causing harm to the people. But the only other thing the phenomena did there was to paralyze people. There are two cases. One case I was present there, where the people look at the phenomenon and was immediately get paralyzed for 1 to 2 minutes. And this is the maximum of aggressive the phenomena was there. This is the difference. We don't know if it's the same phenomena with a different type of operation of behavior there, just to observe and so on. So these are the difference between two cases. So as soon as it started, I contacted the journalists, I contacted the indigenous chief, and as soon as the chief said to me, no, it's real, I got paralyzed looking at it. I looked in a few meters away from me, an orange orb that was pulsating.
So that's the chief of police you're talking about?
The chief of indigenous people.
Chief of indigenous people, okay.
Yes. I talked first with the journalist that was covering the area, in the region, and he put me in contact with the indigenous chief. So he confirmed me everything, and he confirmed that he was paralyzed. He confirmed that these orange to red balls were descending close to the ground and coming from the forest, not coming from the sky, but coming from the forest. And after that, I said, okay, I need to go there. So I kept all equipment. I brought all equipment there, and cameras also to get the testimony of the indigenous, and cameras to film the phenomena. And at the first time, I was not expecting to film any phenomena there, honestly. I was expecting only to interview them, to saw what they were witnessing. But as soon as I got there in the Amazon, the phenomena manifestations just exploded. It was like responding to my presence there. Okay. It was like it knew that was there to see it. It was knew that it was there to do some research. And I think this is the reason why we have many sightings. The indigenous chief said, oh my God, after you arrived there, the number of occurrences exploded. So I think the phenomenon was some kind of conscious that was there to do the research.
So the orb phenomena is really interesting, and I guess for folks who watch this later, one of the ways that you and I connected was through Jim Segala. He was at a hotspot in New Hampshire, and what intrigued me was, from what I understand, he was told about that hotspot. He went there looking to try and film and analyze UFOs or UAP, and what he ended up capturing was orbs. And so you ended up connecting with him through that because you were seeing a similar thing. What's interesting to me about that is orbs, I know they have been around forever. It seems like they are being reported more. Now, maybe it's because people feel more comfortable right now reporting those, right? But I mean, we've had UAP in the news. It's been, like this growing headline for the last few years, and now we're starting to see more and more orbs. Do you think you think it's a trend, or is that just reporting?
Yes, I think people are more aware because of the news, because they were paying more attention to the environment because of this news about UAP, and people are talking about that. But in this case, specifically in the Amazon, it was close encounters, it was close contact. That's nothing normal. It's normal to people to see orbs. Oh my God, I was driving my car and I see an orb crossing the road. This is normal in Brazil, for example. But these orbs came and do close contact with people, paralyze people. This is what's not normal. This never happened in this specific indigenous village there. So I think something different is happening in that region. I don't know why.
So it's new. This is a new phenomenon.
Yes.
And so these are glowing balls.
Not a new phenomenon, but maybe the same phenomenon with another behavior.
Okay.
I was just there, and now I'm coming to you to try to observe you. It's something like that.
So does this seem technological in origin?
This is a very interesting question, because all the phenomena that I witnessed in Brazil, this orb, for example, it's like something of the nature for me.
Yeah.
They come from the forest, they come from the rivers, they seem to be playing between the trees. And for me, it's like something that is here, it's from the nature, maybe from other layer of reality, and somehow it's appearing. I don't know why, but it's appearing for us, materializing. I don't know what the word to use here, but coming to our reality. So I think this is a little bit different from this technological ones that we see, for example, in US, the Tic Tacs and other forms that we see that seems to be more technological crafts, nuts and bolts hardware.
And that's why I asked that. And this is just kind of my perception, right? But it's based on, what I've read and what I've heard. And with UAP, again, I think that's fairly well documented, and those do seem technological. They seem to be some kind of NHI using machines, or else maybe robotic. I mean, there are a lot of possibilities there, but it seems like it's more aligned with the machine-based approach to travel, right? It seems like some kind of a vehicle or a probe or something along those lines. With the orbs, from what people have reported, it seems to somehow respond to people's consciousness, and they do seem to be they seem to be more like plasma balls. That's what's been reported, and more connected to people, right? And definitely less machine-based. And so that's interesting to me, because I've wondered, maybe these are probes of some kind, but they don't necessarily seem like that.
Yeah, I believe they are totally connected, directly connected with human consciousness, our intentions and something like that. It was very important to me in Amazon that, for example, the guy saw the orb and he thought to talk with his wife about it. He did not talk, but he thought to talk with her. And at that moment, the orb disappears.
Okay.
So it was, the guy thought about to get the camera to film. The phenomenon disappears. So it was clearly responding to the intentions, to the thoughts of the people that were seeing it. So I think it's directly linked to this human consciousness, something like that. And as I said, I arrived there with the intentions to research that. And when I arrived, the phenomena exploded, the manifestations, the number of occurrences. So it was for me a clear response to my intentions to do the research.
Well, so in terms of detection and analysis, and because I know that you have recorded some video and things like that, what are some of the different tools that you've tried? What are some of the different spectra that you've looked in and things like that? And where do these seem to be visible, and are they indetectable in some ways, right? Like, did they show up in ultraviolet but not infrared? Did they show up on radar, or are they giving off an EM signature or anything along those lines?
Yes. As I said, I don't believe it's technological. It's some kind of life form. These specific orbs is different from that one that we talk in the craft. But it is. I was proved there that it's able to deal with our technologies. For example, we have our orb that was close to us. We looked for it. It ran away. It flew like 30 meters from the ground above the tree. I was able to get my drone. I flew the drone right beside the orb, and the image was all black.
Ah, okay.
It was not just the image of the background and the orb does not appear. It was all black. It's like the orb was dealing with the sensor, disturbing the camera sensor to saturate it in light.
So these can affect electronics. They can affect sensors.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, and this happened. It's an 8-minute video where I go around this orb and nothing can be seen in the camera. All black, no sound. It also reduced the resolution of the video. That was 4K, but it reduced it to 8D resolution. So it messed with the camera sensors. So this is crazy. And other thing that happened is I filmed one with a PTZ camera that has a motor that you can zoom, that you can move, and I tracked one of these. And I recorded it on video recorder. I was watching it on the screen, and when I was watching the screen, the video recorder went offline.
So what's interesting about that is what you're describing, especially with drones. I read several reports from the eastern seaboard when the New Jersey drone sightings were happening. People would send up drones to try and investigate these lights in the sky, right? And in many instances, batteries would suddenly go dead. The drone would fall out of the sky. There was electromagnetic interference. And so that was really intriguing. You know, you could make a case, right? Like if it's a human-made drone, you could make a case that it's using some kind of jamming. But I can't think of any kind of technology or anything like that that would drain a battery.
Yeah, and the level of detail that it can do is not a simple interference. It's something much more sophisticated. As I said, I filmed with this PTZ camera. I was watching. The video recorder went offline, and I had 2 video recorders. The other one with other cameras was perfect, online, everything good. The only video recorder that went offline was this that filmed this orb.
Yeah.
So it's weird. And after this video recorder, it went offline like 2 to 3 minutes. And after it came online again, when I saw the same video, it was completely noisy. I could not see the same details that I'm seeing of this orb and other objects around, because there was an orb and other objects, like 10 objects around it. I could not see the details. It's like, okay, you filmed me, I permitted you to film me, but I will modify your footage to insert noise so you cannot see all the details of the phenomenon.
Interesting. Yeah, and again, I'm just kind of speculating, but I know that like different kinds of electromagnetic interference, right? You can introduce noise into the CCD or the the camera, right? So there are different ways that it could do that, and it doesn't have to be technological in origin to have some kind of a technological effect.
But what happened here is that it interfered in a recorded video. It was not something like, oh, it's moving live, it's filming live, and I'm interfering with the sensor. It entered in the video recorder on the movie that was stored on the hard disk, and it modified it to insert the noise in a recorded movie, what for me is much more sophisticated than a simple interference with a camera that's filming live.
Okay.
And as I said, with the case of the drone, that was this interference what made the image all black, and I could not see the UAP, the orb. It was clear for me that phenomena was like saying, okay, you will record me, you will film me, but in my terms, in my rules.
Yeah.
You will not film me very close to see details that you can figure out my nature. It's something like that for me.
It seems to me like the orb phenomena is something that is connected to us as human beings, right?
Agreed.
And maybe it has been for thousands, hundreds of thousands of years. So one of the things that's kind of occurred to me is, as I kind of explore down this UAP rabbit hole, because it's anomalous, because these topics aren't well known, right? They all get kind of lumped together. But I'm starting to wonder maybe what we're calling the phenomena is actually 2 or 3 different phenomena.
I don't know if I agree. It seems to be many phenomena, but another interpretation is we have intelligence somewhere that's manifesting these many phenomena in many different fashions, many different ways, depending on the context. So I think there's 2 possibilities on the table.
So if you were going to go and do more filming of this, right, if you were going to try and capture this more, what would you do in terms of equipment? What would you do in terms of
I did a very interesting experiment in Atacama Desert in Chile. I was in the Licancabur volcano. That was a legendary volcano there in Chile, where the ancient civilization of Incas did many rituals there on this volcano, and they have anthropological evidence to support that. And I chose that place specifically because of all these stories there. There was ancient people doing rituals, so many entities. So I did the experiment there. What I did, I brought a person as a psychic, a Brazilian psychic that lives in Amazon, and she allegedly would be able to summon some entities, summon UAP and beings, and enter in contact with them. So I prepared my equipment, and I said to her, okay, concentrate, do a meditation, and try to invite them to appear here.
Okay.
And at the same time, I was taking pictures with high exposition and high ISO to try to see phenomena that we cannot see with our naked eyes. And at the 2 moments that she was more affected, saying, oh, they are here, I feel the presence, they are red in color, they are coming from the volcano. On these 2 occurrences that she was more disturbed, I was able to capture on camera the orbs associated with shadow entities there in the volcano. And in one of these experiments, I invited her to go to the direction of the volcano to try to get closer. And I said to other people, oh, we'll be there and we'll be here taking pictures to see if something appears. And in this occurrence also, they were photographed very close to us. And she was very disturbed. She was sometimes in an altered state of consciousness, talking like she was them, saying, oh, we are good, you can come to us, and something like that. So, and she was entering and going in and out this altered state of consciousness each 10 to 15 seconds. It was crazy. I was very worried about her, so we need to go back, but I was able to get these pictures. And I was not seeing with my eyes. It was only the psychic medium seeing it and my camera.
Okay.
So this was, and my camera did not have total infrared capabilities. So this was photographed in near infrared that regular cameras can do. So what I would bring the next missions would be cameras with infrared capabilities, like night vision goggles, also thermal cameras on the other side of the spectrum for long wave infrared. Because I'm sure after the experience that there are many phenomena manifesting that we cannot see with our naked eyes, but they are here.
Yeah, well, and that, for me, that is one of the, I guess, most interesting and definitely, like, in terms of next steps, one of the most important things is better detection. What I've seen is, and I'm sure you've seen the same thing, right? There are such serious limits to what you can pick up in the visual spectrum, especially with smartphones, and I think that we're reaching the limit of that, where it's like, okay, we know what we can get, especially with something like like orbs, but we tend to be seeing the same thing over and over again. And if we want to learn more, where can we get that? So one of the things that I've seen is there's a company called Kalari that actually modifies digital cameras. They remove the UV filters. You can see about 10% into the UV spectrum there. So it's near UV. And then you mentioned IR. Have you thought about doing EM spectrum, even just like radio band?
Yeah, I installed that in Amazon, 2 antennas that covers from 0.2 to 6 gigahertz. Unfortunately, in Amazon, we have a lot of problems with energy.
Okay.
They have solar panels and batteries that cannot able to supply everyone. Most of the time the station is offline, unfortunately. But yes, if I could do another mission there with better resources in energy and so like that, I would apply also microwave, radio waves, to try to also monitor the electromagnetic spectrum. And also, not many people talk about that, but I started there infrasound, because maybe infrasound is sound that we don't heard, we can hear, and it propagates kilometers. The elephants talks with infrasound. So we can detect meteors and earthquakes with infrasound because it propagates a lot of kilometers. So if the UAP is able to generate some kind of sound that we cannot hear, maybe the infrasound could predict and detect.
That's a good point. That's a good point. And now, if you're getting into sound, another thing that I've wondered about is sonic imaging, right? Like the backup detectors in, like a Tesla or pretty much any new vehicle these days, right? And that is very much close range, so there are limitations to it. But I've wondered if something like that might show orbs. And for me, being able to see these in different spectrum helps validate the reality of it, right?
And we use ultrasonic. It's close range, but the resolution is very, very good. So you could see the shape, for example, if it's possible.
Yeah.
So you can have the infrasound to detect, and maybe if you get closer, the ultrasonics to get more precise data about the nature of the phenomenon.
Let's get into UAP fragments, because you have done analysis on UAP fragments. There's one that's down in Brazil, and you were going to tell me about how that came into your possession.
Yeah. So 4 years ago, in the 80s, there was a ranch in the extreme south of Brazil, in the state of Rio Grande do Sul, border with Uruguay, and this luminous UAP descended close to the ground. The people of the ranch was very afraid to get close. It emitted many rays of colors, different colors, and after it leaves, it let on the ground 12 spheres. White to creamy spheres, 2 inches in diameter, and it was disposed in a circular pattern. That was more weird thing, I think. And after that, the owner gave these 12 spheres, each one to one person that he loves, the family and their favorite friends, the best friends. One of these best friends was a celebrity in Brazil, TV show host there, famous TV show host there, and he kept a secret with him because he was afraid someone who could visit him and get the government, and someone could get this sphere. And after he died some years ago, his son inherited the sphere, and this son gave me one fragment of this sphere to be analyzed. Okay. So this is the source of this sphere. It's being analyzed by 2 institutes in Brazil, from Brazilian government, 2 federal universities right now. And after that, we'll share with other people, other teams around the world that want to analyze it also.
So I understand, if I understand correctly, I could be mistaken, it's metallic and it has titanium in it, right?
It's ceramic.
Ah, okay.
It's some kind of ceramic. We don't know if it's a regular ceramic, and but it has some components, the X-ray diffraction, so that has some components that says that it's not definitive yet, we do not have the results, but it could be some type of ceramic. And we are doing microscope and tomography to see the structure, to see if it has, for example, nanometric pores and something that could not say it's a normal process to fabricate a regular ceramic.
Okay.
So this is what we are doing right now.
So it's definitely anomalous, but it doesn't, I mean, from what you've done so far, if it had nanostructures, right, like I'm thinking of like a computer circuit or something like that, you would have seen those. You guys aren't seeing anything like that yet?
Yeah, I don't see the results. I don't have the results yet.
Okay.
This is what we are analyzing to see if it can be fabricated by humans, a ceramic. First, it's a normal ceramic. It's a regular ceramic for all the components ceramic has, first. And the second, it can be produced by man-made ceramic, or it's a completely different process that could not explain. The sphere has circular patterns that says to us maybe it was created in a circular way, like moving the elements to fabricate, to create that. This is something very interesting also. And I don't think it's a fragment of the craft, but maybe a sub-process of the interaction with the matter of the local.
Well, and that raises a lot of really interesting questions, right? And with Art's parts, when Jared Yates has done analysis on that, we're not seeing anything that's obviously indicative of like microcircuits or anything like that, at least not that I'm aware of. And yet, at the same time, no one can really pinpoint the way that this could have been produced, right? And so this is interesting in the same way, even if there isn't like an obvious smoking gun in terms of, hey, this thing has computer circuits. The very fact that it is anomalous, where it was found and, who found it and the different samples they gave away is really, really interesting. Well, so what are the next steps for you, I should ask? I mean, it's 2025. We are here at the SCU conference. You're going to be heading back. You are going to be doing more research. I mean, you've been diligently researching this stuff for a while. What's coming up for you next?
Yeah, I wait for the results of this analysis in Brazil. I will share this fragment with other teams that want to cross the data, do further analysis, because in Brazil we don't have all the equipment necessary. Maybe other teams have more precise and other types of analysis that could share some light on it. After that, I'm also collecting all the files the Brazilian government is releasing, because every year the Brazilian Air Force releases documentation of the UAP, but it did not make any analysis of that. So what I'm doing is to centralize the data, apply some analytics, do some statistics, do some analysis, and to have a central repository of everything that we can publish it to other people to say, for example, oh, this is the places where the phenomenon manifests more, these are the times of the day, the months the phenomenon manifests more, the shapes, all the statistics that we can share. One thing that's very interesting that's happening is we know that the phenomena is jamming the commercial aircraft to put on the TCAS, that's the equipment that the pilots use to see the other aircraft. And the phenomenon is jamming to say, oh, I'm here, you can see on your TCAS, but it's not an airplane, it doesn't have a transponder. So it's a completely directed jamming. So this kind of data that I'm collating to try to share with people.
Yeah. Well, so again, that's interesting. So even if it is not obviously technological in nature, it is having technological effects, right? It's having physical manifestations. Again, you have parts of what appear to be orbs. I mean, so there are real tangible things that can be investigated, even though the phenomena itself seems very different, I guess, than your classic UFO stuff.
Yeah, and phenomena knows that we use technology to communicate between us. So I think the phenomenon is using technology to interact with us also.
Oh, okay.
Maybe appearing like a technological thing. Maybe the nature, the art is not technological, but it's appearing at the technological way to interact with us. And also, like I said, in this case of jamming the airplane and so on, interfering with our equipment, to send a message for us, send some kind of message.
Okay. Well, Rony, let me thank you yet again. It has been absolutely a pleasure and an honor being able to speak with you. I look forward to seeing, what comes out. I mean, you have investigation of orbs, you're doing investigation of a whole bunch of stuff going on South America, and, hopefully as you learn more, we can cross-correlate that data with what's happening in the rest of the world, and maybe this bigger picture will become more clear to us.
Yeah, I think I have many missions ahead in South America, not only in Brazil, but important places like Chile, the Desert of Atacama. I think the Desert of Atacama is very, very good laboratory for us to understand more about the phenomena. And I think if we use people, humans, together with equipment, we can have some repeatability to get the data. Because one of the things that we must suffer about these cases is we don't have repeatability. We don't have a random phenomena that appears and I need to be prepared to take a shot of it, take the data. And maybe if we use humans, these psychic people, maybe mediums, together with equipment, we can have this repeatability necessary to get more data. So this is what I'm trying to achieve.
Wonderful. Thank you yet again, sir.
Thank you very much.